Hello. Last week, yeah, about that. No, we didn't upload last week because, do you know what? I just wasn't happy with the video. Full disclosure, it was a video of me painting a pair of jeans that I'm currently working on. And I don't know whether it was the setup, and I think it goes back to like critiquing yourself on camera and things like that as well. And then over the weekend, I kind of just sat and thought, do you know what the best thing is about starting out on your journey is nobody's actually watching. Nobody really cares. So I can kind of just do whatever I like. I can experiment. I can like try different things out. I can, yeah, really like play around with it. I guess not that you can't when you're bigger and things like that, but right now, like I'm literally just starting. So I can experiment and find what works for me. So that was a big lesson, kind of putting less pressure on myself to do like full blown production. However, there's just the set last week, which I'm in now, it's like the same thing, I'm just different outfit, but oh, that is one thing I really like. I really like putting my personality into the background, so you're getting the whole mood, you get the feel of kind of like what life is like. And plus, I can't lie, you don't even want to see like what's going on behind here right now because the sofa, uh, yeah, it's a health and safety risk, but it's fine because it's all worth it, you know? It's all clear, it's all nice. Got the candles that I need to remember that are here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the solo exhibition that we had in September. So it was our first solo exhibition, and I realised, so I was looking through and basically putting in applications for some really exciting projects that, fingers crossed, everybody. 2024 has been so good to us so far, but we hope she delivers on this because yeah, it's very exciting. But it made me reflect a lot on kind of what projects I've already done, and the biggest one being the solo exhibition in September. And then I thought, do you know what would be a really good opportunity just to share kind of the steps that I took to do it, reflect on it. But if anybody else is thinking about taking a big leap or doing something really similar, hopefully it can resonate and make you feel a bit more comfortable about the process. Because definitely when I first had the idea, the first thing that popped in my head was, oh, you're too small to do this. And I don't really know why that came across, but it was almost like what we talk about a lot at Trip, which is, you know, you've got things that limit you externally, but then you've got your own internal world and how you can limit yourself. And that was definitely me limiting myself, like straight away being like, you're too small, nobody really gives a fuck, no one knows who you are. And then I kind of sat and thought, you gotta start somewhere. Everybody that we know that's amazing at their craft, in the creative industry as well, had to start somewhere. And if there's any amazing way to back yourself and make people feel confident in you because you're confident in you, let me tell you, it's hiring out 3 fucking floors on a gallery and putting all your art around. Because when I walked into that gallery, I was like, I can't do this. That was the first moment where I was like, I don't think I can do this. So rewind a little. I think it was last summer, I had the idea and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And because I went to this networking event in Manchester with Shopify, and it was an e-commerce event, and I met someone who then gave me a contact for a local gallery in Manchester. And I went and visited the gallery just to check it out, just to see, and I fell in love with it. It's a brilliant gallery. It's called Psalm 1 in Manchester, and the team there, they're so lovely, so accommodating, and they really champion emerging artists. And yeah, the space was just clean, it was crisp, it was so professional. And I just think that type of dignity and empowerment that you're giving emerging artists to really display in what looks like such a professional and well thought out space, that to me was like so important and really made me feel like, yeah, this is the place for me. So basically just talked with the owner, basically emailed them, and then paid my deposit, and then we start work on, oh shit, we've got to fill this space. So I originally decided on a weekend. I couldn't, like, on reflection now, I actually think just having a day would have been enough, like as a pop-up. But I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I'm really happy we still did the weekend, because I think this second day really allowed me to reflect and actually allowed me to collect a lot of the content that I've made around that exhibition was collected on the second day, because it was a lot quieter. So yeah, we originally decided to do a weekend in September. That gave me long enough to prepare the exhibition, but still short enough I kind of wanted it when the weather was still nice, because despite Manchester being rainy like all year round, like we still don't like the rain, and we don't want to be out in the rain and the cold. So I thought, you know, September's still a good time, people will still be out, people will still be up for like coming and trying something new. So yeah, weekend in September, and I think the benefit of having your first exhibition, and actually your first few exhibitions, the beauty of it is when no one really knows who you are, even if 100 people came to your exhibition, you could still take all the stuff you had in that exhibition and just replicate it somewhere else, because actually only 100 people have seen your exhibition. Thousands upon millions of people have not seen that. So I think that was really empowering for me to know that if I do this once, I've got all the equipment, all the skills, all the knowledge, and I can just replicate it and do it again, or maybe tweak things and make it better. So I think that was what comforted me, and I hope it comforts you as well, is that you'll only ever do something for the first time once, and then particularly when it can be quite scary, I feel like, yeah, that's really comforting to know, because the next time hopefully we can feel a bit smoother until it's like clockwork. So yeah, let me tell you guys, an exhibition is expensive. It is expensive, but it's probably the best investment I've ever made. So it was things like making lots of lists. That was my next step. So working out, okay, we've got all these different sections. And so the way I like to plan things is I do a mind map first. So I'll write exhibition in the middle, and I will just chuck my ideas at it, because I don't know anyone else that has a creative brain, or indeed just a fucking brain at this point. Our brains just be churning out ideas all the time. And for me, when I keep all my ideas in my head, it's really overwhelming, because I don't have the best memory, so it creates kind of an anxiety that I'm gonna have a really good idea and forget it. So writing everything down, having it in one place, and each time that I thought of different something, I just write it down. Then it's out of my brain. I don't need to worry about remembering it. I don't need to worry about how I'm gonna do it, because I've got it all down. And then breaking each thing down into tasks. So one of the things that I had was, okay, I really wanted to launch a drop, like our first drop of hand-painted custom secondhand pieces. So I wrote that down, and then breaking that down, okay, so I need to source the pieces. Where am I going to source the pieces from? How many pieces is there going to be? What different types of pieces are there going to be? Where am I going to get the paints from? How am I going to test the paints and make sure that they're good paints? What designs do I want to paint on them? Oh, they need branded labels in. I need labels to actually show the price. I need a clothing rail. I need coat hangers. So all of that became like these big long lists. And then I designated tasks each day to make sure that each day I was achieving and working closer to my goals. And then it became really, really easy, because then I'd wake up on Monday and instead of having this entire exhibition in my head, all I had was buy a clothing rail, order labels, buy one of the clothing pieces, and that becomes then so much easier to do and to get through the day with. So that, I guess I've just kind of talked you through using an example how I formulated the drop and the clothing piece. So all of our pieces are available to shop on our website. So then on the other hand, was the art, what everyone was coming for. So what again is really great, or maybe I guess is great about having your initial solo exhibition, is I had been painting for years, not really showing it to anyone, enjoying it, just enjoying and doing it as a therapeutic kind of hobby. And so I had, now that I realised, a ridiculous amount of pieces. And so I basically went through my archive and went through pieces that I thought I wanted to show. Some I never showed actually, and I've never shown. Some of them I just like to keep for myself, and I think that's something I'll always stand by. The pieces that I picked were pieces that I felt comfortable showing, and pieces that I really believe just look fucking cool on the wall, and that somebody might be inspired to create themselves. They might just be inspired by the mere fact that someone has done this, you know, someone's created a space and really showed off their inner being really in that way. That can be really empowering, because I definitely felt very inspired when I've seen other people do the same. So in terms of the art, that was pretty simple to collect. I then went to IKEA and bought all of the frames. I have to say, through this whole process, none of it would have been possible without my community. So everyone around me that I know and love really like coming together and helping. And I think that was the biggest thing that I took away from this, was I really, for the first time in my life, actually let people help me, or asked people to help me with something that wasn't transactional. So there was absolutely nothing I could offer them in return for, please can you take me to IKEA and do this, please can you cut this out for me, please can you do this, please will you listen to me whilst I talk about this. It was a very me-centered process, and it was one of the first times, if not the first time in my life, I'd really like required that of the people around me. And I think, you know, when you're doing something like this, I really challenge you to reach out to those people, because I realized how many people in my community have been sitting there waiting for me to ask for help, and nothing gave them greater joy than to help their friend or their family or their girlfriend. Like, nothing gave them greater joy, and it was actually made me realize it's down to me in a relationship to ask for help as much as offering other people help as well, because that can bring you closer. And so by the end, when it came to the exhibition, I feel like everyone really felt that was there from my community that they'd actually contributed something to it, even if it was a small listening to me talking about it, or listening to me like, oh my god, I'm so tired because I've been working all day and all night on this thing, or just even checking in and seeing how I was doing because I went a bit quiet. Like, everybody, I think, really thought that they'd kind of been on this journey with me, and I think that was what was so important, and that more than anything exemplified what Trip is about and what I'm trying to create. So back to the frames, we got the frames. I then decided that my art is colourful. So although you can see this piece here is in a black frame, I was kind of trying out a bit more of a monochrome. I just think it screams to be in like the boldest, brightest, most colourful frame, because it really shows off. So I got loads of neon spray paint and I just sprayed the fuck out of the frames. I did it downstairs in the car park outside my flat, and I one by one had to like go in the lift, then like run all the way like outside my corridor, like put them out. And then it came to the actual day. So I've got all my art, I've got all my frames, we've taken all the stuff over. I've got this like massive piece, and it was a bit of a stress. Like my friends had to take the freaking art in the Uber, whilst me and my boyfriend then went in another car, and then it was just very like, I was quite numb that day, I think, because I was so in like business mode, like, no, we're gonna promote this shit, I'm gonna do this shit. So yeah, we put all the art up, the gallery were amazing and really setting the lighting up, so they really kind of focused the lighting on each piece, so it really like shone and brought out the colours. On the bottom floor we then created a table, and on this table I had two kind of secondhand shirts that I'd picked up, a load of fabric paint that had actually been used to create the drop, but it was left over, then some paintbrushes, and a message that kind of talked about what our drop was, what Trip is about, the community that it wants to create, and how creativity is so important to foster within communities. And just encourage everyone that came in, one of the first things to do was sit and paint. And so now we've got these two amazing shirts that are full of people's doodles, and I could see some people were hesitating, some people were like, oh, I'm not very creative, and then literally drew the coolest fucking thing. And that to me reminds me that, you know, art is so subjective, and I believe everyone has creativity in them. It might not be in the form that you pick up a paintbrush or make a song, but it could be in another way. It could be that you're so open-minded, you're able to see different people's views better than other people. It could be that you think very logically, but in that logical way you're able to look at a project or look at, I don't know, a strategy or something in a new and different way. And I think creativity is so innate to human beings, it just manifests so differently, and it was just really nice to kind of see people use their creativity in maybe a way that they're not normally used to. So yeah, we had the first floor, we had a bit of art on the first, on the ground floor, sorry, as well. And I'd scented the gallery as well, because scent for me, it's a really sensory thing. I love like nice smells. I mean, who doesn't? But for me, it was like really important that I brought people into my world, my space as well, so that it was very scented. I had like music on the second floor, which kind of flooded through the whole gallery. It was really nice. And I'd actually got some of my friends that I'd done commissions for to donate their pieces in as well. So that was really nice to kind of see those pieces that had been with them for so long kind of come back. And going up one of the walls, I get so worried that the camera's not recording, because can you imagine? What's become so central to the Trip brand is our little gremlins, and they've just taken on a life of their own. I love doing them. I feel like they're manifestations of so many different personalities, so many different parts of me, parts of different people, parts of everyone. That was really important for me to like kind of showcase. So going up the stairs to the last kind of floor where we had our drop, we had our big piece, and we had a few pieces dotted as well. And then we had kind of like a desk which acted as kind of like a checkout station. And honestly, seeing it all put together, seeing all my community there, seeing people going out on the street flyering for me, we had flyers. That was another thing I forgot to mention. I'll talk about that in a minute. That really is like the best feeling ever. It's the best feeling ever, realizing you did it. And actually we went out for food after, and I was crying every 5 minutes, because I think it was just all this hard work that you put into all the sleepless nights, all the constant thinking about it, doing it, dreaming it, all of it, and to see it all come together, it's like so overwhelming. Like even as I'm talking about it now, I'm like, whew, yeah, it was a lot in the best possible way. So the marketing aspect was a really, really interesting thing that I learned, because initially, I guess when I thought about an event, I thought about maybe how growing up we used to be advertised for events, which was always like physical kind of things. So like posters on the wall outside the train station, or like posters in the city centre, people were handing out flyers. So one of the first things I did was design a flyer, which I'm actually really proud of. Like, it was my first go on Illustrator, and I'm not that into digital design, but I had my little drawing pad, and I was like, I made this whole flyer, and it actually turned out really sick. But yeah, so I got all of those ordered. I got some stickers ordered as well, because I thought, oh, I can give a sticker out, give people a little something. And yeah, and just I kind of realized how fucking important social media is, and to keep going over things, keep really helping to kind of push forward momentum for the exhibition. So that's when I started doing things that I really was not comfortable with, which was reaching out to influencers that I knew did content around like what's on in Manchester, things to do in Manchester, and kind of offering them, you know, it'd be really cool if you could come, or if you could advertise my exhibition. That was like a really big thing that I was like, oh my god, I don't want to do this. But yeah, so it was about creating a pitch, creating an email campaign, which I cannot take credit for, because I have a really good friend that's in that industry that really grateful for her using her time and experience to help me with that. So yeah, we got it out to influencers. We weren't as successful with newspapers and like formal publications, but I don't mind really, because actually there is definitely a new wave of advertising and marketing, and that is very much rooted in the people, in influencing, in Instagram, in ordering people on their accounts, interacting, and I think that was a really organic way to advertise something. So yeah, that was kind of the marketing side, and then on the day we really stripped it to flyering. So that was really helpful advice I got, was to as much as flyering can be really helpful, most people will just take it and then maybe chuck it in the bin or like misplace it. So to do flyering on the day and get those people that were just wandering around in town, so that was like really helpful advice from my boyfriend. And then one of my friends, no, I'm sorry, he's actually insane. I don't know how he was doing it, but I had this one friend that was just, he could have enchanted a freaking snake, okay? Like, he was going up to people, he just knows how to talk to them, how to get them in. Why are 20 people turning up at the gallery now? He's like, oh yeah, I've just like pulled them, like my friends really came out here, my friends, my family, my boyfriend, like honestly, they really like showed up and showed out. Like it was amazing, and yeah, it made the marketing process a whole lot easier. So to reiterate again, if this has taught you anything, it's that there's so much power in your community. Even if your community is this big, or if your community is this big, reach out to the people around you, because the way this process went was, okay, yeah, it was down to me believing in me, creating the action, but that action was sustained, surpassed, and fucking catapulted into the stratosphere by my community. And yeah, so grateful. If you take anything away from this video, if you've got this far, like, thank you. If you take anything away from this video, it's just do it. Like, that's so cliche. But like, if you've got something that you want to create, if you've got something that you want to do, a vision that you have, no matter how big or small, make it happen. If you want to come on our DMs or write on our contact page an idea that you've been having, a creative vision you want to bring to life, and we feel we can help you with it, we will absolutely help you to make it happen, because I think there was something just so affirming and it really helped me realize that you can really fucking materialize whatever you fucking want in this life. And that's something I didn't subscribe to before, because I'm like, oh, that's not taking into account, you know, the limits that are placed on us. It's some people it may be easier to overcome those barriers than others, and you know, a voice in my head telling me I couldn't do it all the time. But I really feel like that moment then kick-started, and this is why I'm here doing these YouTube videos. This is why I'm here posting reels, even though maybe nobody fucking cares or is watching, but I fucking know that this is something, and this is something I love doing, this is something I'm gonna do, and we're gonna make it happen. So thank you so much to everyone that came, everyone that helped, everyone that's yet to come and see an exhibition, that's yet to buy a piece of art, that's yet to wear one of our drops, that's yet to even go on our website for even a second and go, that's cool, and go off, or that's yet to not like it, and that's okay too. Thank you to all of you, past, present and future, because yeah, this is really just the beginning, and it's actually been so nice to reflect on it and yeah, just explain to you guys how it came about. So if anyone has any other questions, anything they wanted to know, just comment down below, drop us a DM, drop us an email, and yeah, any other questions you have, yeah, just ask. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll be here next week at 6 p.m.